You think you're saving fuel, but you're actually wrecking your engine. Trying to maximize your tank by squeezing in a few extra cents? Think premium gas gives your engine a little boost? These common habits feel smart, but they're wrecking your fuel system and costing you thousands. Here are 21 myths still fooling drivers, and you're probably one of them. Let's start with the most expensive myth drivers still fall for. Starting with myth number 21. Topping off gets you more for your money. You pull up to the pump, fill it up, the nozzle clicks. But instead of stopping, you squeeze in a few more cents just to hit an even number, maybe $50, maybe $60 one. Bad move. That extra fuel, it's not going into your tank, it's going into your vapor recovery system, specifically a part called the charcoal canister, which is designed to handle vapors, not liquid gasoline. Overfilling floods it, ruins it, and triggers your check engine light. And replacing it? That's $400 to $700 just because you wanted to round up. But here's the worst part. That extra gas you thought you were buying, most of it never makes it into your tank. It gets sucked right back into the pump hose. So instead of getting your money's worth, you're literally paying for gas you don't keep and damaging your own fuel system in the process. Be honest. Have you ever done this? Drop it in the comments and keep watching because the next myth is even worse. You don't even have to start the car and you're already wasting money. Myth number 20. Premium gas makes every car run better. Key 200 Worden. And while we're talking about wasting money at the pump, let's clear up one of the most expensive misconceptions out there. A lot of drivers assume premium gas is just better, cleaner, more powerful. Maybe it gives your engine a little boost, right? Not really. Unless your car specifically requires high octane fuel, like many turbocharged or high compression engines, premium fuel doesn't give you more horsepower, better mileage, or longer engine life. The only thing premium fuel adds is cost. It's not higher quality. It doesn't have special detergents. It simply resists engine knock under pressure, which only matters if your engine is built to need it. In fact, some drivers actually report worse mileage with premium in regular engines. Why? Because the engine's timing and sensors don't know what to do with the extra octane, so performance can drop slightly. So unless your manual says premium required, all you're doing is burning money for no reason. But wasting fuel doesn't stop at the gas station. Myth number 19. Modern cars need to warm up for several minutes. Cold mornings, idling engines, hidden damage. A lot of drivers still let their car warm up for 5, even 10 minutes, thinking they're doing the engine a favor. But that advice hasn't been true since the 1980s. Back then, older carbureted engines needed time to stabilize fuel delivery. If you drove too soon, they'd sputter or stall. But modern engines? Completely different story. Today's cars use electronic fuel injection, oxygen sensors, and onboard computers to adjust everything in real time, within seconds. And here's the kicker. Excessive idling does more harm than good. When your car idles cold, it runs rich, dumping extra fuel into the combustion chamber. That fuel can wash down cylinder walls, strip away protective oil, and increase carbon buildup. You're not just wasting time, you're accelerating engine wear, polluting more, and burning through fuel that gets you nowhere. Modern manufacturers and even the EPA now recommend start the engine, wait 30 seconds, and drive gently. That warms everything faster and protects critical components. Old habits die hard, but this one's costing you more than just gas. And if you think fuel system cleaners are a smart fix, myth number 18 is going to sting. At number 18, we have additives and fuel cleaners improve performance instantly. And since we're on the topic of magical fuel fixes, let's talk about the $9.99 bottle that promises to clean your entire engine. You've seen them lined up at the gas station, right next to the beef jerky and lottery tickets. One bottle claims to restore power, another boosts mileage, a third one says cleans injectors instantly. Sounds amazing, until you realize most of it is just high-priced kerosene with a label. Here's the truth. While some fuel additives can help under specific conditions, like for older engines with carbon buildup or ethanol-related issues, most over-the-counter cleaners do absolutely nothing noticeable. Modern fuels already contain detergent additives by law, and your car's ECU is designed to adapt to changing fuel conditions. Unless your mechanic recommends a specific product for a real issue, these impulse buys are just snake oil with clever packaging. Worse, some can actually mess with fuel sensors or cause residue buildup if misused. So if you've ever poured one in and expected a smoother ride, sorry. The best fuel cleaner is a healthy engine and regular driving. And if you think all gas is created equal, wait until you see what's actually in that cheap pump down the street. At myth number 17, all gasoline is basically the same. Gas is gas, right? Just pick the cheapest pump and go. Not exactly. While most gasoline starts from the same refinery pipelines, what happens after delivery changes everything. That's where detergent packages and proprietary blends come in. Top-tier brands like Shell, Chevron, and Exxon include additives that clean fuel injectors, reduce carbon buildup, and maintain combustion efficiency, often far beyond the EPA minimums. Cheaper, off-brand stations, they may only meet the legal baseline. Some use lower-grade additives or none at all, and fuel that sits too long in underground tanks can absorb moisture or sediment, hurting performance over time. You won't notice it after one tank, but over 50,000 miles? The difference can be hundreds in injector cleanings, rough idle issues, or clogged sensors. So no, not all gas is the same. And saving 5 cents a gallon at a discount station could cost you a lot more in the long run. But what if you try to fix that lower quality with a bottle that promises instant octane and more power? That's where myth number 16 takes a sharp turn into the world of snake oil and bad tuning logic. Myth number 16, octane boosters give more horsepower. So you're at the auto parts store and there it is. Another bottle promising real performance gains. Just pour it in and boom, more power, better throttle response, cleaner combustion. Sounds great, but here's the truth. For most cars, octane boosters don't do a thing. Octane rating isn't horsepower, it's resistance to detonation. Higher octane allows an engine to run more aggressively if it's tuned for it. But unless your engine is turbocharged, high compression, or tuned with advanced timing maps, boosting the octane won't unlock any hidden power. In fact, adding octane without a need for it can even slightly reduce efficiency, just like with unnecessary premium fuel. And those big plus 10 octane claims? Misleading. Many boosters only raise octane by fractions of a point unless you pour in half the bottle, sometimes more. That $12 race fuel in a can is usually just a marketing gimmick and expensive placebo. Ever used one of these and actually felt a difference? Let us know. And next, we're going after a myth that tricks even careful drivers because it happens after the gas is already in your tank. Myth number 15. High mileage engines need premium fuel. After 150,000 miles, your car's earned a little respect, right? Maybe a better oil? And hey, why not better fuel too? That's how a lot of drivers end up switching to premium gas in older engines, thinking it'll smooth things out, clean things up, or extend the engine's life. But unless your owner's manual says premium required, that upgrade does almost nothing, except cost more. High mileage engines might burn a little oil, run slightly rougher, or have carbon buildup, but premium fuel doesn't solve any of that. Premium's higher octane just resists detonation. It doesn't burn cleaner or hotter. It's not more refined. In fact, if your ignition timing is already conservative due to engine wear, the benefits of higher octane disappear completely. If you want to help an aging engine, focus on maintenance, regular oil changes, fuel injector cleaning, spark plug replacements, and consistent driving. Premium fuel might feel like a treat, but your engine doesn't feel the difference. And yes, we've got even bigger fuel myths coming up. If this one surprised you, tap that logo in the corner and subscribe, because the worst myths are still ahead. Like the next one, where your car burns more fuel just to keep your speed steady. Myth number 14. Ethanol gasoline destroys your engine. Few topics divide car owners like ethanol. Some drivers swear E10 fuel ruined their engine. Others use it daily with zero issues. So what's the truth? Ethanol is an alcohol blended into most US gasoline to reduce emissions and lower costs. And while it has some downsides, destroying your engine is a massive exaggeration, unless you drive an older, pre-2001 car or let your vehicle sit for long periods. Ethanol is hygroscopic, meaning it attracts water. That can lead to phase separation in stored fuel and corrosion in metal components over time. But modern fuel systems, especially in cars built after 2001, are designed to handle up to 10% ethanol, E10, without any issues. Where problems do start is in boats, small engines, classic cars, or vehicles in storage storage. In those cases, yes, ethanol can cause serious damage if untreated, but for your daily commuter, E10 isn't killing anything. E85 and high ethanol blends, that's a different story if your car isn't flex fuel compatible. And speaking of neglected parts, myth number 13 covers a component that protects your engine quietly until it's too late. Myth number 13. A fuel filter never needs replacing. Ethanol might not be killing your engine, but what flows through it just might. A lot of modern drivers assume fuel filters are lifetime parts. After all, they're tucked away, hard to reach, and rarely mentioned in service manuals. But fuel filters do exactly what the name says. They catch debris, rust flakes, and microscopic dirt from entering your injectors. And over time, that filter can clog, restricting flow and forcing your fuel pump to work harder. In older vehicles, replacing a fuel filter was standard maintenance, every 30,000 to 50,000 miles. With newer cars, the filters last longer and may be integrated into the tank or pump itself, making them harder and more expensive to service. Still, lifetime doesn't mean forever. If your car is over 100,000 miles and you've never replaced or inspected the fuel filter, you're rolling the dice. Symptoms of a clogged filter can mimic other problems: loss of power under load, rough idle, stalling, long crank times, or even random misfire codes. And replacing a fuel pump because the filter failed, that's a 500+ mistake. Don't wait for the warning signs. The next myth involves an intentional habit that seems smart but quietly destroys your catalytic converter. Myth number 12. Your car gets worse mileage in the rain. It's raining. Traffic slows down. You're driving more cautiously, and you glance at your miles per gallon gauge. Why is my mileage worse? A lot of drivers assume rain somehow messes with the engine or fuel system, but the real answer is much simpler. And yes, your mileage probably is worse. It's not because your car burns more fuel in the rain. It's because everything else changes. Wet roads increase rolling resistance. Your tires have to push water out of the way, and that takes more energy, especially at highway speeds. Rain also affects tire grip and traction. If your tread is worn or your tire pressure is slightly low, efficiency drops even more. On top of that, humid or cooler air is denser, causing slightly more aerodynamic drag. And let's not forget, in the rain, people brake more, accelerate gently, use headlights and wipers, and spend more time idling in slow traffic. Add it all up, and yes, your miles per gallon drops. Not because the engine is struggling, but because the conditions are working against you. And speaking of small details that cost you fuel, the next myth hides behind your gas cap. Myth number 11. A loose gas cap doesn't matter. You fill up, tighten the cap, maybe, or maybe you just twist it until it sort of clicks once. No big deal, right? Except it is. A loose, cracked, or missing gas cap is one of the most common reasons for a check engine light. Modern fuel systems are sealed under pressure. That cap helps maintain vacuum, prevent fuel evaporation, and keep your emission system working correctly. When the seal breaks, even slightly, your car's onboard diagnostics detect it and throw a code. You might not feel any symptoms, but that tiny leak can lead to evaporative emissions issues, drop your fuel economy, and even trigger fuel vapor buildup. Over time, excess air exposure also accelerates moisture contamination in the tank, especially if the car sits. And here's the kicker. Many people pay mechanics hundreds to diagnose a problem that's just a $12 cap not clicked tight. So yeah, tighten it until it clicks 3 times and make sure the rubber gasket's not worn. It's a tiny part, but it seals a very expensive system. Next up, a DIY trick you've seen online that actually hurts your fuel economy instead of helping it. Myth number 10. Tire inflators boost your miles per gallon instantly. You've seen the ads. A $19.99 tire inflator promises instant fuel savings. Just plug it in, press a button, and watch your miles per gallon go up. Sounds like a no-brainer, but here's the truth. It's not the gadget that saves fuel. It's the air pressure, and you could check that for free. Underinflated tires increase rolling resistance. Your engine has to work harder to move the car, especially at highway speeds. Even being 5 psi low on all 4 tires can drop fuel efficiency by 1 to 2 miles per gallon. and increase tire wear by up to 25%. But these so-called tire booster devices, most are just glorified mini compressors with a plastic gauge and a blinking light. They don't magically tune your tires to the perfect pressure. In fact, cheap versions are often wildly inaccurate, inflating too much or not enough. If you really want better mileage, use a proper tire gauge and inflate to your manufacturer's recommended PSI, not the number on the tire wall. Air matters, but gimmicks don't. And speaking of smart-sounding ideas that actually backfire, wait until you see what drafting behind trucks really does to your engine. Myth number 9. Drafting behind trucks saves fuel. You're on the highway doing 65. There's a semi-truck ahead. You ease in behind it, close, real close. It's called drafting, and yes, it can reduce aerodynamic drag. NASCAR uses it for a reason, but unless you're racing in Daytona, it's a terrible idea. First, the fuel savings are minimal. You'd have to tailgate dangerously close, within 50 feet or less, to see any measurable improvement in fuel efficiency. Second, the risk is massive. Trucks can't see you. Your visibility is gone. Your braking distance, gone too. One sharp stop and you're toast. Plus, you're sitting in a turbulent airflow zone. That constant buffeting forces your engine and transmission to adjust repeatedly, creating more mechanical wear and inconsistent throttle behavior. And if your car uses adaptive cruise, drafting confuses the sensors. You'll get sudden braking, overcorrections, and uneven speed, none of which are good for fuel economy. So yes, drafting might save you a couple of miles per gallon, but the cost in safety, stress, and drivetrain health just isn't worth it. And yes, it sounds efficient until you realize what it's doing to your engine. If you're learning something new, hit like so we know these myths are worth busting. Myth number 8. Running the AC uses more fuel than opening the windows. It's hot. You start the car, roll down the windows, and tell yourself, I'll save fuel by skipping the AC. Seems logical, right? Air conditioning uses energy, so avoiding it must save gas. But here's the reality. At low speeds, driving with windows down uses slightly less fuel than running the AC. But once you hit highway speeds, open windows create aerodynamic drag, essentially turning your car into a parachute. That drag forces your engine to work harder, often using more fuel than the AC would. Modern AC systems are far more efficient than they used to be. The compressor cycles on and off, adjusting output based on temperature and demand. So unless you're blasting max cold nonstop, the fuel usage is actually modest, typically 0.2 to 0.5 gallons per hour. In contrast, driving 70 mph with all windows down can reduce fuel economy by up to 10%, depending on your car's shape. Bottom line, for city driving, crack the windows, but on the highway, close them and use the AC. Sounds like a smart habit, right? Wait until you see what some drivers do before they even shift into drive, thinking they're protecting their engine. Myth number 7. You should always fill at half a tank. Some swear by it. Never let it go below half. It's better for the pump, cleaner for the engine, safer in emergencies. And while there's some logic to it, this myth is more opinion than science. Let's break it down. Yes, your fuel pump sits inside the tank and uses gasoline to cool itself. So if you constantly run near empty, especially in hot weather, it can shorten pump life over time. But most modern fuel systems are designed with this in mind. Unless you regularly run bone dry, your pump won't overheat from a low tank. As for fuel sloshing up debris from the bottom, also misleading. Your fuel pickup is already at the bottom of the tank. Whether you're at half or nearly empty, it's drawing from the same place. Now, keeping at least a quarter tank is smart for emergencies or remote driving, but half a tank? That's personal preference, not a golden rule. So let's settle this. Do you fill up religiously at 50% or wait until the warning light blinks? Drop your habit in the comments. We're curious how you roll. Myth number 6. You should only fill up early in the morning. You've probably heard this one. Only get gas in the early morning. When it's cooler, you'll get more fuel for your money because gas expands in the heat. Sounds clever, but it's not how fuel stations actually work. Gasoline does expand slightly with temperature, but retail fuel tanks are buried several feet underground, where temperatures stay remarkably stable throughout the day. Whether it's 8 a.m. or 4 p.m., the fuel temperature barely changes. Even if surface temps hit 90 degrees Celsius, underground tanks might only fluctuate by a few degrees, translating to maybe a few cents of difference over hundreds of gallons. And modern gas pumps are calibrated by volume, not density. So unless you're filling a fuel truck, the difference in cold morning versus hot afternoon fill-ups is basically nothing. This myth has been around for decades, and it still fools people into lining up at the pump before sunrise. But if you want to save real money on gas, focus on tire pressure, smooth acceleration, and proper maintenance, not temperature-based gas hacks. And what about that bottle of fuel stabilizer sitting on your garage shelf? Is that stuff actually helping or just collecting dust? Myth number 5. Fuel stabilizers are useless. You park your classic for the winter. Maybe it's a convertible, a motorcycle, or a weekend car you won't touch for months. Someone says, just fill the tank and forget it. Fuel stabilizers are a scam. Wrong. Modern gasoline contains ethanol, which attracts moisture, and over time, fuel exposed to air starts to oxidize, forming varnish, gum, and deposits that clog injectors and corrode metal. After 30 to 60 days, untreated fuel begins to degrade. After 6 months, it can be completely unstable. That's where stabilizers come in. They don't rejuvenate bad fuel, but they slow the breakdown process, keeping gas viable for up to a year or more. If your vehicle sits for weeks at a time, especially in fluctuating temps, stabilizer is cheap insurance. But if you drive regularly or refuel often, you don't need it. It's not snake oil. It's just purpose-built for a specific type of owner. Don't confuse useless with misused. And if you think winter gas is the same as summer gas, think again, because the next myth breaks down what really happens to your fuel when the temperature drops. Myth number 4, winter gas is just a scam. You fill up in January, and suddenly your mileage drops. Some drivers blame the cold. Others say, it's that watered-down winter blend. They're scamming us. But winter gas is real, and it's not a scam. In colder months, refineries switch to a different fuel formula. It includes more volatile compounds that vaporize more easily, helping your engine start and run smoother in freezing temps. Summer blends are denser and evaporate slower, which is great for preventing vapor lock, but terrible for cold starts. So think of winter gas like your engine's hibernation fuel. It burns faster, lights easier, and warms up the system when everything's cold and sluggish. The downside? It contains less energy per gallon, so you get fewer miles. That drop in MPG isn't your imagination, it's chemistry. Still think it's a scam? Blame the season, not the station. We're now in the top 3, where myths go from kinda wrong to engine-damaging expensive. And myth number 3, it fools even the people who think they know better. Myth number 3, higher octane equals cleaner engine. We're now in the top 3, where myths go from kinda wrong to engine-damaging expensive. And myth number 3, it fools even the people who think they know better. Premium gas burns cleaner. It keeps your engine healthy. It's worth the extra cents per gallon. Sounds smart, feels premium, but it's completely wrong. Octane has nothing to do with cleanliness. It only measures a fuel's resistance to knocking under pressure. Higher octane fuel burns slower, not cleaner. It's designed for high compression or turbocharged engines, where early detonation can cause damage. If your car's manual doesn't say premium required, that extra octane is doing nothing for you. And here's the twist. Regular fuel often has the exact same detergents as premium. In fact, some top-tier regular gas contains more cleaning agents than generic premium blends. Using premium in a standard engine doesn't clean it, it just empties your wallet. Want a clean engine? Stick to top-tier stations and regular maintenance, not marketing hype. And next, we're diving into a myth that's divided car owners for decades, especially if you drive something built before the 2000s. Myth number 2, ethanol damages all engines. Ask any old school gearhead and they'll tell you, that ethanol garbage ruins your engine. And decades ago, they weren't wrong. Ethanol is hygroscopic. It absorbs moisture. It's also more corrosive to older materials like rubber fuel lines, gaskets, and carburetors not designed for alcohol blends. So yes, on classic cars, motorcycles, lawnmowers, or boats built before the 2000s, running E10 or E15 can absolutely cause deterioration, clogging, or rust if untreated. But modern vehicles? Different story. Since the mid-2000s, most engines are built to handle up to 15% ethanol without issue. They use ethanol-resistant components and fuel system calibrations that adapt to blend changes automatically. In fact, ethanol boosts octane and burns cleaner, reducing carbon buildup in properly designed engines. Where problems still occur, letting ethanol-blended fuel sit too long unused. That's when moisture separation and gumming begin. So the damage isn't from driving with ethanol, it's from storing it. Ethanol isn't the villain. Using the wrong fuel for the wrong vehicle is. And now, myth number 1, the most absurd, persistent fuel lie out there, and the one that makes mechanics shake their heads in disbelief. Myth number 1, more fuel is more power. You'd be shocked how many people still believe this one. Just fill it with more gas. Your engine will go harder, as if horsepower comes from drowning your cylinders. Let's be clear, adding more fuel doesn't mean more power. Internal combustion is about balance. Fuel needs the right amount of air, called the stoichiometric ratio, to burn efficiently. Dumping in extra fuel without adding air, that just creates a rich mixture. And unless your engine is tuned for it, it leads to incomplete combustion, carbon buildup, lower MPG, and reduced performance. It's like dumping more flour into cake batter without adjusting anything else. It just makes a mess. The only time more fuel equals more power is when your ECU or tune demands it, like in high-performance or turbocharged engines under boost. For everyone else, you're just wasting gas and killing power, not making it. So there you have it, 21 fuel myths busted. If any of these surprised you, hit like and tap that logo in the corner to subscribe. And if you want your car to last longer, drive smarter, and avoid costly damage, check out our video on 12 habits that secretly destroy your engine.